machine or a way to play kind of like DeFi or other things on the Bitcoin network itself. But yeah, I think that it's interesting to see like what's extensions on like Solana, for example, could be an interesting way to kind of also scale. It's interesting to see scalability place a feature so prominently for a lot of the networks. And how does that kind of stack up with Ethereum, which is what we talked about at the beginning of the show? Because I think that like the concern that a lot of players, at least in the institutional side, have had is how additive or extractive are the layer twos relative to the value of ETH itself. And really, I think that that's that's not really kind of putting it in the right context, because really the problem isn't the fact that layer twos have been extractive to ETH value, but the scalability roadmap in general. Like if you were just including like scalability as just part of the L1 roadmap rather than like using L2s as the experiment, like even if you burned all that ETH, like it still wouldn't be deflationary right now. And I think that's what people are missing. They're like, oh, it's because of the L2s. It's not just because the L2s. It's just there's not enough demand coming for the block space that we have in this period of the cycle. And I think that there will be apps that will form the part of like the Ethereum community and the Ethereum ecosystem, but it takes time to get there.
There's also this moment when Ethereum or the layer one, whatever it is so cheap that the layer twos are useless for that brief time. Like you don't even need to go to a layer two right now for cheap transactions on Ethereum. You just use Ethereum.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing. Well, to be fair, activity on Ethereum never shifted. It was just like flat. If you look at a chart, like and all the activity like pulled up on the L2s. But yeah, of course, you're like with blobs, you are, it's like certainly I think for a lot of layer twos, like the sequencing revenues are definitely beneficial to them. But like, I think that they are slowly pivoting towards using layer twos as the app layer. And I hear what you're saying. Like, like why do I need to go to an L2 if like the security on like
Ethereum simply for a cheap L1 transaction, right? Then they just go to Tron anyway. So yeah,
but it's still like, fractions of a penny on an L2. So I think like, that will like create new use cases for a lot of the applications that are out there.
Yeah, my feeling is that there's been a lot of huge news this summer, and it's going to be one of those things that whenever we do get that next bull market, we're going to look back and be like, how did we not see this? Or people will. They'll be like, Larry Fink was literally like tokenizing treasuries on Ethereum, and we didn't see that as a signal because the cycle, it's always that way. So, I think higher prices, all of a sudden, the news becomes a lot meaningful, even in hindsight.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think just as human beings, we're just really bad at this. Like, like we're bad predictors of things, which really kind of deflates me a little bit, because I'm just like, man, this is my job to predict things. And I think that like I'm not great at it. But anyway.
Yeah, I totally agree. Well, we'll be back on to talk about it in the future for sure. Everybody follow David on X, of course, man. Thank you so much as always for your perspective.
No, it was always a pleasure to be here. Thanks, Scott.
See you soon, man. All right, guys. Now we get to have the same conversation, but with pretty pictures with lines and candles on them, because we have Texas West Capital, Christopher Inks. And Chris, I would like to tell you, in case you missed the beginning of the show, that it's official. Ethereum is in a death spiral.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's dead. It's over. It was also over, as I mentioned to him, in 2021, when there was a Clubhouse about the death of ETH Party, which was the generational bottom. And I would just kind of like to remind people that these tend to be bottom signals, and I'm willing to say that ETH is bottoming. I want to show you a chart too before we get into it, because I wanted to save the chart for sort of you. I brought it up for a second, but this is the ETH Bitcoin chart, obviously in a major downtrend, no denying that. When you take a look at it on the weekly, the big bottoms have always been oversold. We had hit that. That has not happened, but we have some pretty serious bullish divergence coming out of oversold RSI brewing here on the ETH Bitcoin chart. And when you go down into the daily, you have oversold RSI with huge bullish divergence forming and formed right here, which I know, like me, is one of your favorite signals. So we have death of Ethereum. It's over. It's dead. It can't exist. It's a scam. And we have a chart that to me looks pretty bottomy. Now, I want to remind people, when people like Chris and I say bottom is in, we're talking about a process, not a price.
Yeah, exactly.
Bottoming is a process. It can take a long time. It's not like, oh my God, it ended up going 4% below when he said was the bottom. He's wrong. Could form more bullish divergence. I have no idea, but to me, this looks like a chart that's bottoming.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said about it. I mean, you bring up a great point there. Bottoms and tops are processes, right? They're not singular events. The high and the low are just events, right? It's a thing that happens. Whereas the process of bottoming or the process of topping are these things that can take a while, right? Because it's this, when you think about tops and bottoms, it's the movement of supply from, one set of hands to another, basically. And so if it's a top, it's the movement of supply from retail's hands into the supply from the longer term professional holders into retail's hands, and at the bottoms, it's the move of supply from retail into those longer term holders. And what we usually get, as you mentioned, and it's an absolute great signal if you learn how to do it, is this idea that Ethereum's dead. Oh my God, Ethereum's dead. Bitcoin's topped out for the cycle. All these things, and these types of things are not what you hear at the top. These are what you hear at the bottom, right? People get out the top when things are exciting and when people are feeling, bullish as hell and it's euphoria. In the bottoms, it's when everybody's given up. When they're like, that's it, it's over. We can think back. If anybody can think back, it was a long time ago, but when we were around, 15 and a half, 16,000 on Bitcoin, just a couple of Q4s ago.
Had to go to 10.
But yeah, and lower even, right? I mean, it was definitely going to 10, but it was most likely going to 3 and below 1,000. And, and what it was up only since then, right? And then we've had 2 periods of sideways here of 5 to 7 months, this being the second one. And this one coming up at the top at, around the all-time high. But again, the idea is everybody's extremely bearish. And this kind of sentiment doesn't usually happen when you're at the top. At the tops, everybody's bullish. That's why it becomes the top, right? That's retail's bullish. They're selling into, they're buying into what's being sold to them. So, when we look at this, we go, okay, well, it seems more likely that it is accumulation. And again, when we're looking at, volume here within the range and whatnot, and then we've got this huge spike of volume right here. So for me, and beyond that, I've got this as a wave 4. So, wave 4, the initial target's usually around the 38.2 retracement, which is about where we got. Now, again, as I've said, I think that may be the bottom. We could go lower though. And I wouldn't feel any different. I wouldn't feel more scared, because we dropped down, because I know the secondary target area is usually around the 50%, which is on this chart around 42,856. So for me, I look here and I go, okay, well, it does appear to be 1, 2. It does appear to be 3, 4. So it's hard for me to get really down in the dumps and worried about it. For me, if we were to drop below here, this becomes a huge buying opportunity for me. Rather than just assuming, oh my God, that's the end of it. And so, right now locally, I've got this as potentially a leading diagonal here as a 1. We got an A, a B working on a C here. We could see it continue to come down here. We got the hourly S1 pivot right around 54,912. So we could potentially see that. Shoot, we could even see a really deep pullback here to the daily S1 pivot at around 50,300. Wouldn't bother me at all. So what am I looking for then? Well, for me, I'm looking for a breakout above this swing high here at 61,202. If we can get a breakout above that swing high without dropping below, this swing low here, to me, that would suggest that low is in. This is a 1, and then wherever we are with the 2, and we're heading for a 3 to work ourselves up toward that, that all-time high and potentially higher off that. So as far as Bitcoin goes, I mean, that's where it is. It's about, it's about having patience, right? It's about, just ignoring all the noise. most of the people that are really bearish right now are the same ones that have been bearish for the last 2 years. Especially when it comes to, trying to find all these economic indicator reasons why, the stocks had to go down over the last 2 years. Instead, they've continued to rally, right? And same thing with Bitcoin. People that have been arguing since 16,000 that Bitcoin was going to go lower, and they're still arguing about it today. So most of the people out there that are bearish here and said that the cycle top has to be in are those same people. Not all of them, but most of them. So, take it with a grain of salt, folks. Apply some logic to it. Look at what everybody's kind of saying right now with this idea that everything's dead, Ethereum's dead, Bitcoin's, topped out for the cycle and all these things. And then understand that all this is happening right off the top. And when you see that, that should really get you kind of looking at, well, nothing's guaranteed, obviously, but generally speaking in markets, that's not usually a top signal. It's usually a bottom signal, an accumulation or reaccumulation type signal. So that's what I'm kind of looking at there.
So assuming we're not dead, it means that there might be some other charts worth looking at. What else are you looking at the moment?
I've got a few. Things are kind of iffy when it comes to alts, but I found a few here. So I've got this first one, which is Mover, MOVER, USDT. We've got what it appears to be in this descending wedge here. We've had some good back and forth here. We have this dip below here as well, which kind of then led to this breakout here. And so for me, really on Mover, I'm kind of looking for a breakout above this descending resistance up here. And likely that's going to happen. That would happen right around this low volume node over here at about $12. So if I can get that breakout above $12, you've got a nearby target here of around 1770 or so. And then we've got another target up here right there around $26, almost $27 there on that. But, I'm not trying to look for I'm not trying to catch a falling knife here. I'm trying to look for that breakout above this descending resistance, above this previous swing high, which takes us right into the low volume node. So if we can do that, that gives us basically 5 waves up there, potentially up higher there. It gives us a good setup to get toward those 2 targets. So, I'm watching it. We'll see how it plays out. I'm not in a hurry. I've got this, I don't know how it's pronounced, probably carrot, but it's KARRAT.
Yeah.
What was that?
Funny. They're all the same setup. No, it's altcoins. It's like throw a dart to so many of the similar setups.
Yeah. This one right here, I even like this one probably a bit more. It's a much cleaner wedge here. And then we've got this, again, you can notice you've got a lot of small candles overlapping. You've got volume dropping off throughout this, what you'd like to see. This is the daily. Daily RSI is almost reset into oversold. Stochastic RSI is bottomed and oversold, and we're nearing the S1 pivot. So when I see a chart like this, what I'm usually looking for is a reversal around this area. Okay, so from where we are to that S1 pivot, which is right there around 27.5 cents. And so then what I'll want to see, my first target would be this descending resistance. And if we can get an impulsive breakout and close above it, then I would be looking for it to take out this low volume node here, to pop up through it, and probably get us up. I've got an initial target right here around, I guess, probably about 54 cents or so. And then if we can get through that, I would just be looking immediately right about this kind of area here at about 70 cents off that. Usually when it comes to wedges, folks, when you have like a descending wedge like this and you get the breakout, usually its target is right up here toward the top. Not necessarily the very top of the wedge, but at the beginning of the wedge where you have all that overlapping price action. That's usually the target area on the wedge. So just a simple pattern target based on breaking out of the wedge heading up. Let me see here. And then I've got one more here. I've got, excuse me, GOG USDT. Again, same kind of idea. We're kind of getting this potential descending wedge kind of thing going here. And really the wedges are just, price action going from expansion into contraction. That's what we're looking at. And that's why wedges, if they are wedges, you're usually going to have an impulsive breakout or an impulsive breakdown if they're up. You usually see a strong shot because it is that expansion to contraction. And we know that once contraction ends, you usually have a big breakout, right? Usually thought of when we're going sideways. But here, it's just in the wedge. And again, kind of coming on down here. This, again, is the daily here. We have RSI here nearing, a breakdown. But right now, it's giving us this, if we look here, we get this lower lows here in price, and we're getting these higher lows here. So we're getting this bullish, potential bullish divergence showing up here. But again, Stochastic RSI hasn't quite dipped down and oversold yet. So, I would look for this to potentially come down and hit the support, or maybe even do a throw under and back up into it. But again, we're still looking for the impulsive breakout and close above that resistance to signal that that wedge may be complete. Initial target would be the daily pivot here, which is 0.0456 area. And once through that, again, wedges, you're looking for that, where they kind of get that overlapping price action up toward the beginning of the wedge. So that gives us a target then up there at 0.083. The odds are if we get up there, the bottom is probably in, and we'll head up even higher. So, we could head up here to 26 cents or, 31 cents and break out even. But you do have a low volume node here. And so what that tells me is if we were to get to this area, what we'd probably do is get a push up a little bit into this node. We'll pull back, and then we'll get a strong kind of candle pushing up through it as we kind of get up through that. So, right now, like I said, there's nothing that's really a lot of fun right now, but these look like some potential setups that I'm kind of watching here in the crypto market.
Makes perfect sense. I think I'm just happen to be like, while you're doing it, I have this screener from Wick, Trading Alpha. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah.
But they put on crypto, put on daily. This was made my life so much. RSI bullish divergences. Check this out. Just because I love it. Here, let's take a look. So Solana USD, it shows bullish divergence. We're getting it on the line chart, but yeah, huge bullish divergence right there. Right?
Yeah.
You can look how many of them there are. They're all literally over the place. I bet if we go to 4 hour, they're going to be a million of them. RSI divergences search. This just makes me think that this is kind of bottomy right here. I don't know, man. There's a lot of bullish. There's a big bullish divergence right there. I don't know. I'm seeing it kind of everywhere, including Ethereum, Bitcoin. I think things could be looking up here.
Yeah, it's looking good. But again, we talk about it, we can talk about it all day long, and the reality is, though, it has to follow through, right? So as market participants, as traders, as investors, our job is to find the setup and then look for the confirmation, and then along the way apply proper risk management. If you do that, you're going to be a lot further ahead than you won't. But unfortunately, most people getting into the markets, they don't do that, right? They're looking to get in right now and make money over the next 3 hours, and get out with profit. Heaven forbid, price can't ever go against them. Those types of things. But all that emotional stuff is what kills you guys more than anything out here when you're trading. So, get a hold on the emotions. If you don't know how to do that, find out how to do it. Again, you've got Google, you've got ChatGPT, all these AI things. There's a lot of ways to, help you figure it out if you're not willing to go with somebody else, to kind of teach you about it. But other than that, you absolutely have to use proper risk management. I get so tired of hearing people, I don't use stop losses. As long as I don't sell, I'm not losing. No, you're losing, folks. You're losing. It always comes down to this. If you could get out of a trade and lose just 1% and then get into a trade in the proper direction and make profit, that's infinitely times better than getting into a trade and waiting a year, holding on for years, holding that bag for years as it goes against you. Not only do you have the mental and emotional aspect of that, right? It's really damning on you, but you also have the missed opportunity cost, all the money that you could have made along the way by going the right direction, just by taking the proper, proper risk management loss that you needed to set yourself up for going the right way. So, most people have an aversion to loss. You can't have aversion for loss in trading. You're going to lose from time to time. And the newer you are, the more you're going to lose and the more often you're going to lose it. Once you get over that, you figure out the importance of risk management, proper risk management. You start doing that constantly, consistently every time you trade. And that way, you understand again that you're going to lose from time to time, but it's nothing that's going to kill you.
You might lose more often than not and still make money.
Yeah, exactly.
Time to time.
Exactly. And then that's the game. That's what it is. That's the game.
All right, man. Well, everybody, if you want more of that insight, you can follow Chris at TX West Capital and everything he's got going on. He taught me, he can teach you. So, Chris, I'm going to let you go. Keep going for a few more seconds, man. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Have a good one. So, guys, I just wanted to say thank you to a bunch of you who obviously signed up for the new website yesterday, which launched. We launched it arguably the worst day of the market in history, the day after Labor Day. Market dead, things going bad, and the feedback has been really, really, really positive. I just wanted to show you, for those of you who are members, I give you the opportunity. I want to show you one thing because I did this interview. We wanted to keep it fresh, so I did it yesterday. Well, I had Dave Weisberger come on. You can see he's very animated here, just explaining the carry trade. But I had Tom Dunleavy, who you guys have seen a lot of times. He's head of research at Masari. And he came on. He had tweeted about DePIN, and he's writing a huge Bible on DePIN, obviously decentralized physical infrastructure networks, which is a huge narrative in crypto. But in this specific video, he literally laid out 4 platforms he's using to passively earn every single day, where you literally have to do nothing. And so he says he's making about $100 a day on these, basically either running a node, or you literally just bring up the website, hit a couple buttons, run it in the background, and never stop, never look at it again. And he's making 50 to $100 a day. I didn't know about this. I'm actually setting them up myself. So if you're on there, I mean, I know it's at $39 to join the platform, but he just gave you something that'll pay for it in a day and will pay for the entire year in 6 or 7 days. But I had no idea. This is the kind of thing I care a lot about having on the show in general and on the platform. Is I would never look into anything about farming airdrops or any of this. And it's literally just incredible. You passively make 50, $100 a day. He's doing it right now. It's right there. So really worth checking out. Of course, that's the wolfofallstreets.com. wolfofallstreets.com. That's all I got for you guys today. I will see you tomorrow. Peace.
Let's go.